Hey guys, we're not here to do a review on the shims from Clandestine by HC. I've seen these shims on their website for a while. I just neglected to order them because it said it had a 0.3 millimeter shim in it, and I don't really like 0.3 millimeter shims. And there's 30 in here, so that means there's 10 of each. Typically I use GMP shims. I just find them, from my experience, to be more precise and accurate. And there's 40 of them, and they're 0.1 and 0.2, and I use them all. HC, I don't know if I'd use the 0.3s, but I'm going to measure them and stack them up against my GMPs to see how accurate and precise they are. I'll be using a micrometer, so it'll be an actual measurement test. Okay, so first up is the GMP 0.1 millimeter shim. Alright, so let me get it in here. While I'm doing this, I'm going to list some pros and cons of both shims. A pro for me for the GMP shims is the fact that they're copper and they're not magnetized, so they don't want to stick to your screwdriver or any other magnetized item or steel item or something that is magnetized. Alright, so I'm getting about, gotta do the math here because it's an analog one. I'm getting about 0.11 millimeters here of thickness on the GMP 0.1. That's pretty good. That's almost dead accurate on what it's advertised as. Let's see here. Let me make sure I'm right. Yeah, that's almost exact what it's advertised. 0.11 millimeters on average, rounding up. So that's pretty accurate. I've never measured them before like this, so we'll see. Alright, so next up is the HC 0.1 millimeter shim. Make sure that's 0.1. Yeah, alright. Alright, so one thing I don't like about the HC shim is that it's made out of steel. So if what you're working with is magnetized, such as a screwdriver or this right now, which is magnetized for some weird reason, it's going to stick to it, and it's just going to make things harder, I guess you could say sometimes. If you're fiddling around with your screwdriver and your gearbox when it's shimmed, you may grab a few shims with it on accident and pull them all with you, and that would be a big no-no. You have to restart shimming then. Alright, so I'm getting about, I'd say 0.12 millimeters thick, so it's just slightly off. Its advertisement. 0.2 millimeters, or 0.02 actually, millimeters off its advertised thickness. So the GMP beats that in thickness right there. It's slightly more precise. So let me put that off to the side and we'll measure the next two. Okay, so let's try the GMP 0.2 millimeter shim. One thing I like about GMP shims is that they, like I said, they do come in a baggie, 2 to be exact actually. But one was separating the sizes so you can actually tell what you have here and there. With HC, like I said, they're thrown into a package. And if it's your first time shimming a gearbox, you may not be that great at deciding the thickness by just feeling around with your hands and fingers. I've shimmed so many gearboxes now that I can basically tell. It's not that hard for me anymore. But for somebody who's starting out, I could see how it'd be hard. Alright, so on the the GMP 0.2 millimeter shim, I'm getting about 0.21 millimeters thick. So that's just slightly off of what it's said to be. That's not bad at all. So I'm going to take that one out. Alright, now I'm going to measure the HC 0.2 millimeter shim and see what its thickness is. Okay. This one is slightly thicker than the GMP one. It's around 0.23, I think maybe 0.24 millimeters thick. This is very difficult to tell with. So I couldn't say it's an absolute exact test, but I can basically tell that the GMP one is slightly thinner than this HC one, being more accurate to its advertised thickness. I'll say it again, the HC one is about 0.24, maybe 0.23 millimeters thick. I do know it's above 0.23. Alright, so let me try the HC 0.3 millimeter shim. Okay, wow, this thing is around 0.34 millimeters thick. Slightly more than what it's advertised. Well, not slightly, but it's more than what it's advertised as. So let me take that one out now. Because I don't have a GMP 0.3 millimeter shim. I don't even think they make one. So let me just we'll go over what we did. So the GMP 0.1 millimeter shim was much more accurate, or not much more, but more accurate than the HC 0.1 millimeter shim. So I'm going to stack the GMP above it. And then the GMP 0.2 millimeter shim was also slightly more accurate than the HC 0.2 millimeter shim. So I'm going to stack that one up against it. And then I don't have a GMP 0.3 millimeter shim like I already said. I don't even think they make one. But the HC 0.3 millimeter shim was 0.3 millimeters thick, actually. Slightly off of what was advertised as. So put that off to the side as well. Alright, so overall, GMP shims are more expensive, around $1 more expensive, and you get slightly more shims. You get 10 more shims. I think that's worth it, honestly. I don't know if I'll be buying HC shims again. I'm going to use these in a build. The HC shims I will be using in a build soon. I haven't tried them out in a build, so I don't know. But from this micrometer, they're slightly off what they're advertised, and the GMP are more accurate. So that's what I got to say. Things that could improve from HC, I wish that they would throw their shims separately into baggies, though not a really big problem for me anymore. Just, it'd be nicer for new guys starting out, I guess you could say. Like GMP, where they put their 0.1s, like this, they put their 0.2s in 0.2 bags and their 0.1s in 0.1 bags. Just makes everything easier, I think. And I was shimming a version 6, and, or this is about P90 actually. And this is the bevel gear I have installed into it. It's polished and all that nice stuff, but it spins, and it spins very well, and there's absolutely no up and down movement. And this is with all GMP shims. That's all my gearbox has in it right now. And it spins very freely with absolutely no movement. So yeah, that's what I got to say. If you guys have any questions, or if you guys see anything I did wrong, just feel free to drop in and tell me something I did wrong, or give some advice, or just tell me what you think, or tell me your experience. This is just merely my experience. You could have had the exact opposite of what I had. So this is just my experience, like I said. If you guys have any questions, hit me up.